What dying in every extreme place on Earth would be like. Death Valley. Death Valley is one of the hottest places on Earth, and if you think the name is just dramatic, it really isn't. During summer, temperatures can reach over 50 degrees Celsius, and the ground itself can get even hotter, sometimes hot enough to burn your skin through thin shoes. The first problem wouldn't even be the heat itself, but dehydration. In a normal environment, your body sweats to cool you down, but in Death Valley, the air is so dry that sweat evaporates almost instantly, making you lose water without realizing how fast it's happening. After a while, you'd start feeling dizzy, confused, and weak. Your heart would beat faster to keep blood flowing to your skin, trying desperately to release heat, but eventually your body would start failing. If your core temperature reached around 40 degrees Celsius, heat stroke would begin. At that point, you might stop sweating completely, which is a very bad sign because it means your cooling system is shutting down. Then, confusion would turn into hallucinations. Your organs would begin overheating, and without help, you'd collapse. The worst part is that even if you found shade, it might not save you. Shade only removes direct sunlight, but the air itself would still be hot enough to keep cooking you slowly. Mount Everest. Mount Everest is the highest mountain on Earth, and while it looks beautiful from a distance, near the top, it is basically a death zone. Above 8,000 meters, there isn't enough oxygen for the human body to survive for long. Even if you're breathing, every breath gives you only a fraction of what you'd get at sea level. At first, you'd feel exhausted doing even simple things. Walking a few steps could feel like sprinting. Then altitude sickness would begin. You might get headaches, nausea, confusion, and eventually your brain could start swelling, a condition called cerebral edema. If that happens, you could lose coordination, forget where you are, or start making irrational decisions. This is one reason climbers sometimes remove their gloves or wander off the path, even though doing so is basically suicide. Your lungs could also start filling with fluid, making you feel like you're drowning from the inside. And if that wasn't enough, temperatures near the summit can drop below minus 30 degrees Celsius, with winds strong enough to knock you over. If you collapse there, rescue would be almost impossible. Your body would likely stay on the mountain for years, because bringing someone down from that altitude is often too dangerous. The Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench is the deepest known part of the ocean, reaching almost 11 kilometers below the surface. If you somehow teleported there without protection, you wouldn't just drown, you'd be crushed almost instantly. The pressure at the bottom is over 1,000 times greater than at sea level. That means every square centimeter of your body would be squeezed by an unbelievable amount of force. Your lungs would collapse immediately, any air spaces in your body would compress, and your body would be destroyed before you could even process what was happening. But let's assume you had a special suit strong enough to resist the pressure. You'd still be in complete darkness. Sunlight doesn't reach anywhere near that depth, so the only light would come from whatever equipment you brought, or from strange bioluminescent animals drifting nearby. The temperature would be just above freezing, and if your suit lost power, hypothermia would slowly set in. You also couldn't simply swim up. The distance to the surface is so huge that even in a vehicle, returning would take hours, so if your equipment failed, you'd be trapped in total darkness under a mountain of water, with no realistic way out. Antarctica. Antarctica is the coldest continent on Earth, and in some parts, the temperatures can fall below minus 80 degrees Celsius. At that temperature, exposed skin can freeze in minutes. The first thing you'd notice is pain in your fingers, toes, nose, and ears. Then the pain might actually disappear, which sounds good, but it's not. It means the nerves are freezing. Your body would try to protect your core by pulling blood away from your limbs, which keeps your organs warm for a little longer, but sacrifices your extremities. This leads to frostbite. Your skin would turn pale, then waxy, and then eventually black as tissue dies. If you kept walking, you'd become weaker and slower. Hypothermia would begin once your core temperature dropped too low. You'd start shivering violently. Then your movements would become clumsy, your speech would slur, and your thoughts would slow down eventually. You might experience something called paradoxical undressing, where people dying of hypothermia suddenly feel hot and remove their clothes. After that, you'd lose consciousness. The strange thing about Antarctica is that the air is extremely dry, and thus if your body stayed there long enough, it might not decay normally. It could freeze and dry out, becoming almost naturally mummified.